And away we go. Slightly late. Just a couple of minutes, a few last minute thingers happening in the kitchen. And I do stream from the kitchen, so I have to be fair with other members of the house and make a few concessions. So I'm slightly out of breath because I've been running around doing things. I'm going to make Mrs. Angry a drink. I've got my pineapple coconut lemonade extravaganza. Hey, Celtic King, how you doing? I'm going to make a drink for Mrs. Angry. Slight variation on a gin and tonic. I haven't used this ingredient for a while. What's this? Oh, it's 40%. Okay. Thank you. I like my shirt too. I always wear a helmet, which I think is a condom joke. But these days could be a reference to wearing masks for the pandemic. So I like it. Right, give it a bit of ice. Put it in the glass. Right. So yeah, I'm just doing a little bit of a variation on a gin and tonic for Mrs. Angry. Going to make it with Applewood's Coral Gin, which is a little pink. Hello, Alexander and Justin. Whose side am I on, Facebook or the government? It's basically like seeing a Nazi and a pedophile being in a fight. It's like, how do I what? Do I have to cheer on one of them? Saw someone, and I've shared the meme someone made using the tagline from the Alien versus Predator movie, no matter who wins, we lose. Facebook are fucked, and the federal government are fucked, and are composing legislation that's dictated by Rupert Murdoch, which is fucked. And hello, Invisible Chicken. So I'm going tonic, and I'm doing orange liqueur, like Cointreau. This is actually a blood orange liqueur. Salerno. I think it's Italian. Be interesting if she can taste that, because it's mostly gin. Put that in there. Well, Celtic King, if you knew Mrs. Angry, you'd know I'm very lucky. But, 15 years and we're very happy. So, hurrah for us. All right. Stir that a little. So you probably can't see, but it's a very slightly pink gin and tonic. I haven't tasted it, actually. It is true, Invisible Chicken, that like YouTube, Facebook doesn't have a viable competitor. But, say la vie, we live what we in. Abigail, hello to you. I'm just going to take this next door to Mrs. Angry. Can you taste the... I actually use the Salerno blood orange. So that'd be more interesting for you. Good. Well, you can always experiment with gin and tonics and one or other of the fruit liqueurs.
How much did you put in?
I made like a standard gin and tonic, so it's like 2 shots of gin. I just put half a shot of the orange, so I was interested if you could taste it. Cool. All right, drink service fulfilled, and I'm back. Yes, Annette, it is actually good news that Rush Limbaugh is dead. There's just a few others who need to go the same way. Oh, Invisible Chicken, you haven't been feeling awesome lately. I hope you start to feel better. Well, it's easy to tell people on Facebook that Rush Limbaugh is dead in Australia. We just can't link to actual media stories, so we're left to our own devices. But yeah, at this point, I don't really give a shit. It's another classic from this fuckhead federal government, like when the car manufacturing industry in Australia said, when the government said, "Oh, we're going to cut some of the protections," they said, "Well, we're not viable without that. We will literally shut down and you'll have no manufacturing in Australia." And the LNP literally said, "Go ahead, I dare you." And big fucking surprise, they weren't lying. It wasn't economically viable, and they shut down. And fucking Jesus, not that Facebook is remotely important like a manufacturing industry. It really, really isn't. But it looks like it's the same sort of train wreck coming with the federal government thinking they can coerce Facebook and Google. Who would just tell them to fuck off? Oh, Musical Abbey, that's weird. YouTube didn't let you see the stream started. Had to search the channel to find it. That is weird. And that's the question, Musical Abbey. A fight of evil versus evil. Who's winning? Not us, really. Justin, the trouble is, like, on one level, like, yes, it would be a relief when Rupert Murdoch dies, but there are, including one of his sons, it seems like there are plenty of fuckwits at News Corp to continue the sick fucking propaganda that they do. Shieldsy, by the way, if I didn't say hello, hello. Oh, and I have a urine sample to try later. This person needs to be more hydrated. In fact, it looks slightly like they have a urinary tract infection. But at the very least, they need to be much more hydrated. But I'm going to try it. That's a clarified cocktail I made the other day. I haven't had a proper taste of it. I'm going to put it on some ice a bit later and see what it tastes like. Just for fun. Because what is life without home? I mean, it's Thursday, which is almost Friday, which is practically the weekend. So I say that every Thursday night. It's my excuse for having a drinky or two on Thursday night. Been very good this week. Trying to remember if I had a drink in the stream on Tuesday night. If I did, it was only one. Didn't drink last night. Didn't drink Monday night. I don't think I did on Tuesday. I can't remember. Maybe that means I drank a lot, but I can't remember. Who knows? Yes, newspapers lost you when they put up paywalls. What happened to the good old day of ads? Yeah, well, they can't make any money off ads. The money they make off internet ads is about a tenth what they made from print ads. Because the crazy thing is, with online advertising, you tell 100% how effective it is because you can count the click-throughs. Whereas in yon olden days, with advertising and marketing, it was very hard to be sure what was working. I mean, if you launched a campaign and then your sales went up, that was a pretty good sign. But there was the old joke in advertising circles, And it was someone bemoaning, oh, we spend so much money on marketing and advertising, and half of it's completely wasted. I just wish I knew which half. It was always very imprecise. Abigail, really tired, but here, and I greatly appreciate that. Put self-care first, mind you, but if you're able to hang out, that is very cool. Sleep schedule's got you to be awake in the morning, so asleep at night. All right. Invisible chicken, all finance stuff. Rebuilding your bank account. Oh, gosh. Actually got a bill for ADHD assessment. God damn, that's a bit rough. Chatting online to a friend who's an Aussie working in London as a dominatrix. And because London's been shut down so much, she hasn't been able to work. And when there was an impending further lockdown, she scarpered to Gibraltar. Apparently has some clients there on the down low. But yes, no matter what your line of work, people who work in hospitality, people who work in retail, it's real fucking hard for a lot of people. Sunbear, have you seen those Epoch Times ads? What do you make of them? If you're talking about who I think you're talking about, they're total nutters. And I haven't seen the ads. So I don't know where they're running ads. But there's something that's been around for ages that has a name like that. And I think that's who you're referring to. And from memory, nutters. Shields, are you happy for unskippable ads like 7 Plus, 9 Now, and 10 Play? Yeah, the streaming services have a bit more control. Justin, you have a friend who's a porn star? Nice. Sex work is real work. Support sex workers. Miserable Chicken. Yes. Okay. Yes. I'm as it kind of sucks all that there's the bill to go with it, but yes, diagnosis and targeted assistance. Hopefully, very helpful. Celtic, enjoy your dinner, my friend. I had this really nice noodles and chicken karaage from a local-ish ramen place that my offspring picked. Thursday night is takeaway night. And that's what they picked. And it was pretty yummy, actually. Really good noodles. Shields, you just want the news. Well, you can, of course, go straight to the news sites. It was kind of fun to share stuff on Facebook, but I didn't really use Facebook as a news source. And I actually have to admit, I found it really pointless when there was a significant story. 20 people would share it, and it's just like, ugh, okay, we get it. That's a story. Did you maybe notice that 50 million other people are sharing it, so you don't have to as well, so I don't have to scroll past it 10 times in my fucking feed? So yes, for instance, so personally, I usually don't share big news stories of the day on Facebook. Nice. Visible Chicken, spag a bowl. That's good. Yes, Sunday, the focus on China. I'm sure Epoch Times. The Epoch Times, truth and tradition, fact-based, unbiased, and then an actual unbiased review of them. The Epoch Times is a far-right international multilingual newspaper and media company affiliated with the Falun Gong new religious movement. Yes. So basically they're nutters. It's almost like as soon as someone says clear, fact-based journalism without spin or hidden agenda, that's such an obvious fucking lie. It's just, holy crap. Like, guys, ease up a little. Okay, it's getting darker in here. Maybe I should switch on another light. But this laptop gives me a really false view of what I look like online. Does it look like I need more light? Let me see something here. I want my channel. What are we doing? Lighting's fine. I look okay. I do, don't I? See, this fucking laptop gives me a really false impression of what I look like, and it looks way too dark. That's often like when I adjust it, it ends up looking terrible because this laptop gives me a false view of what it looks like. But I just looked on the phone and it looks fine. Stupid laptop. Mr. Pushing, the point brought up, conspiracy theories can't be countered with news articles. Most of the conspiracy shit being circulated was coming from news sites anyway. But on a secondary level, the people who share conspiracy shit are almost never swayed by objective reporting that highlights they're talking shit. Because when you point out they're talking shit, they just declare you to be part of the conspiracy. Big bad ads been arguing with dipshits in Sky News comments section. Oh, dude, that's like flogging yourself with a wet noodle. If you feel compelled, do it. As you're saying yourself, as you know you shouldn't, but you can't help yourself. Yes, I would definitely be on the vote no. Ooh, I think my ice is ready. In fact, I'm sure it is. Oh, in fact, I left it way too long. God damn it, I fucked it up. Oh, well, that's annoying. I'll have to do some more. I left my ice too long. It's got weird fissures in it. Anyway, that's annoying. I left that too long. I'll do another one tomorrow. That's okay. Shieldsy, sometimes you don't need lights when you have 3 monitors. Yeah, I'm in the kitchen. I've just got the overhead lights on, and there are some spotlights here that are actually quite bright that I turn on sometimes. If I really wanted, I could go get my ring light and put that on. But yes. Yeah, Justin, I agree. I try not to have arguments on Facebook because it's pointless, but every now and then someone fucking does something and I bite. And I really try to avoid it on other people's streams or pages because I think that's really rude. But yeah, sometimes like you comment on something that's been posted and, you know, not starting any fights or nothing, you know, just saying, hey, and then some fuckwit jumps in being a complete tool and you're left with, okay, either I just let the fuckwit do that or I bring the whole tone down by fucking going them, and it's really hard to resist sometimes. Visible tricking, you don't counter for those who come up with the conspiracy theories, but those who see it are relatively reasonable, aren't getting better information. You can provide information without media stories, and it is consistently a thing. People who get swayed by extremely emotive conspiracy bullshit don't get particularly swayed by calm, reasoned, factual evidence. Their emotions get wound up. So if you have a chance of talking someone down, you don't need to link to a media outlet. Besides which, I think a few people uncovered you can actually put links to news stories in comments on Facebook, or you could screenshot something and tell someone, like, go to that website and look at this for better information. So I get what you're saying, but and here's the danger. Maybe I'm just too cynical. I know, terrible to think that I could be cynical, but I might be too cynical that I don't think there is much value at any level in if someone started to get swayed by a conspiracy theory. There's rarely much use in linking them to correct information, because a big part of the conspiracy is that the reasonable sources are part of the conspiracy. So that's why it tends to fall down. So, but if someone who can be swayed by reasonableness, you don't need a media thing to be reasonable. You can just explain to them. You can look this up. That's not true because blah, 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 blah. So I honestly don't think that's such a big deal. The core problem you point out is a very real problem, but yeah. Oh, Invisible Chicken, I'm a big believer in delete bullshit. Usually I tell them as well, I'm not here to provide a platform for your fuckery. You can piss off. Somebody being viciously attacked recently on Facebook. So you sent them heart emojis. Lol. Nice. Guilty King, if I saw any troll in real life, I would do exactly what I do on the internet. I would ignore them because they're not worth shit. I've basically never engaged with them. They're just not worth it. They're just garbage. I ignore them on the internet. I would ignore them in real life. So it's that simple, essentially. So they thrive on attention. I don't give to them. I mean, again, if I was, obsessed with, being a thing on YouTube, I'm just doing it for fun. I would respond to them because that sort of bullshit drama is a huge draw. There's a whole industry of people going drama, 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 drama. And yeah, if I was, obsessed with getting attention on YouTube, I'd do that. I just don't fucking care. It's pretty simple. I don't see any benefit for me, or for that matter, really for anyone else. And yeah, if anyone does find that sort of thing entertaining, there are rafts of channels who attack those fuckwits. So you're well served if you want to see someone starting shit with the internet trolls. It's just something I choose not to do because I don't see any value in it. But that's just me. Because a lot of really good channels do actually do that. Call those people out and pick apart their bullshit and highlight just how shithouse they are. So there's people doing it. There's no need for me to do it. And I don't, I just don't care about them. That's what it comes down to. What's that? Shows the biggest issue in media is reporters not getting fairly paid by the big news outlets. Yeah, that and the big media outlets are evil fucking scum. That's a bit of an issue. They have spent decades being just psychotically destructive to public discourse as a premeditated plot to fucking just debase public discourse, much like Ding Dong the Witch is Dead. Rush Limbaugh was just absolutely despicable filth who spent decades whipping up hate. And like, if I ever go someone, it's because of something specific they've said or done. I do not There's an asterisk at the end of this sentence. I definitely don't go like Limbaugh said, like, everyone left wing is just evil, demonic, gonna destroy your life. I don't say that about conservatives. I don't say being conservative is evil and disgusting and vile and they're going to destroy everything good. I prefer to talk about specific policies and specific actions rather than just making stupid blanket statements. The asterisk was because I have said some things kind of like that about Trump supporters, because I think anyone who actively declares themselves a Trump supporter is a piece of fucking shit. Just absolutely vile, abominable shit. That's not everyone who votes Republican in the US, because a huge number of voters of all persuasions aren't voting for specific people, they're voting for a party. But anyone who declared themselves an active supporter of Trump is a fucking piece of shit. It's as simple as that. Some of you can, the day your TV blew up was a good day. No more drama. Excellent. Oh, Invisible Chicken, one of your puppies is sick. Vet thinks she has a virus. Ugh, been throwing up. Ugh. You want to cuddle a bit? You can't. Yes, because you'll get dog vomit on you. Safa, basically, last night, no one was about. No one was joining the stream. When I say no one, few people did, and was greatly appreciated. But there was never more than like 3 or 4 people in the stream. For whatever reason, things coalesced that there just weren't people joining the stream. So I went, oh, everyone's doing something, which is cool. I'm going to go do something. So that's what happened last night. Yeah, it's very unusual and it's weird. But it's just one of those things where everyone was clearly doing something. And that's cool. That's absolutely cool. And so I went and did some stuff. So yeah. Criozzi for American president. Well, they have a law that you have to have been born in the US to be president. And also politics is shit. And I have no interest in it. Abigail, you're asleep. I hope it was productive sleep. So that's the thing, if people had stuff to do or just weren't feeling like it, that's all completely legitimate. So, but yeah, it was like there weren't many people. And I was like, I'm not that into just monologuing for that long. So without a lot of people to interact with, I just thought, I'll cut it off early tonight. Because you think for world president, no, I want like Thanos power, because Thanos was a fucking dickhead with God delusions. And if I'm using the Infinity Stones to fucking blank people, it's going to be very focused and very final. And yeah, I'll get all the obvious ones first, but I think it would only take a couple of weeks till I'd be fucking snapping dumb shit commenters on social media. But yeah. Justin, to run. Okay, Justin, it's complicated. There were actually questions about whether Ted Cruz was actually eligible to run for president. Same as John McCain, because he was born on a military base in Guam, I think. But I think it's considered if both your parents are US citizens and are normally US residents, and for whatever reason you're born overseas, you meet the natural born American rule. It actually has a little bit of gray area. Invisible Chicken, a death note. I'd get writer's cramp. I just want to I want to have the glove and I want to snap. I went, that guy, bam. And rather than that dumb dispassionate stuff that Thanos said about randomly killing half the people. No, that's just some weird thing that I'm so wise. Like, no. I'm just going to fucking. It's going to be very targeted. Like go to the world's worst conflict zones and says, okay, anyone who we're going to work this out. So no one shoot anyone or blown. So going to be a little thing. Anyone who shoots will vanish straight after, right? And then get everyone around a table and work some shit out. I actually like the thing they did in the episode of Doctor Who where they had the Zygons and there was one impersonating, because the Zygons are shapeshifters, there's one impersonating the head of unit, and the Doctor got both of them, the human and the Zygon, but they're both in human form, and said, you've got to negotiate a fair deal. And they're like, how will you do that? Because the Doctor had a thing that could blank their memory. So neither of them knew if they were the Zygon or the human. So they both had to negotiate in good faith, because if they tried any fuckery, it'd come back on them. Because, if they thought they were a Zygon and they were trying to sneak some stuff in to fuck over the humans, they may actually be a human, and vice versa. If they wanted to put some stuff in to fuck over the Zygons because they thought they were human, they might actually be Zygon. So that's how you got them to argue in good faith, that they didn't actually know what side they were representing. So something like that. Yes, Abigail, cancel the detonation. Celtic King. People like ISIS, Al Qaeda, Boko Haram will get one warning. It's like, no, stop that or snap. And then they won't believe me, so a bunch of them will get snapped. And then maybe, and like I said, they can bring grievances to trouble. That's everywhere. Syria, conflicts in all around the world. Russia and the Americans still say Burma, because they say it's the military junta who changed the name to Myanmar. But like all those fucking generals in Myanmar is going, no, you corrupt fucks, back off now, 100%, or snap, motherfucker. Then I'd get down to the rapists and abusers, and it would eventually. I admit I'm a very bad and flawed person. It would get down to people who just annoy me. Not sure how many examples I'd have to make. Like, no, say that dumb shit and I will fucking snap you. That's Just a natural born clause was put in before the clause about anyone being born in the US as a US citizen. It was an amendment Constitution after the Civil War. Two parts are not related. Well, basically, I know that there's a grey area. Shieldsy, you tried to do click, but Trump's still here, so it doesn't work. Guilty King, you think I'm merciful? No. Most of them, the zealots, would get snapped, because I'd say, stop now, you do anything, and I'll fucking snap you. And they wouldn't believe me, and so a bunch of them would go. It'd just be a case of, no, don't kill anyone in anger, because I can snap you. So it's Kush aftertaste. I killed a witch. Fair enough. I mean, as I said, I'd only kill people who deserve it, or if they mildly annoy me. So if that's what happened, that's what happened, I guess. Yes, the fridge ninja strikes again. Oh, no, I get what you're saying. So Kush Aftertaste on Twitch. It's a saying, it's the song from The Wizard of Oz, Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. A reference to the death of a particularly heinous person, Rush Limbaugh. A truly execrable example of how bad so-called humans can be. Well, yes, he killed a king with certain people, like with the worst people. There'd be one warning and then dead. I can think of cases where it had, like, for instance, with someone like Putin, the warning would be step down immediately and get the fuck out of public life. Invisible Chicken. See, I'm going to be fairly arbitrary. It would be time consuming. That's why I'd go after all the big ones first. But again, if you had all the Infinity Stones, you can manipulate time and you can find particular truths as well. So there's lots of scope for finding out who I want. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really complicated situations around the world that you really have to read up on. And not least, what's complicated is explaining to some people who have been oppressed really badly. It's like, well, you kind of have to stop retaliating because that's a never-ending cycle. And, even if I support your cause, can't really support an endless cycle of retribution because more and more people are going to get killed. So at a certain point, you have to say to people, even that I support, you can't go kill those people in retaliation because you're perpetuating the cycle. So if you go against my word, it's like, I mean, it's complicated, but I've got a very arbitrary mind. I will just do it. And I wouldn't. Some would be reading up, but I'd have to talk to people. Like, you get people around the table and find out what's what. And yeah, in some cases, it would clearly be like people going like, "Fuck that guy! They did that. They did that. They did that." And it's like, okay, well, you're stopping because the first thing is if you won't stop the killing, you're part of the problem. So, like I said, have this thing like, okay, well, I'm trying to settle this. Nobody attacks anyone or takes territory or any shit like that. We're going to work out ways to make this work, or I'm just snapping motherfuckers. So, yeah. Guilty King of the Angry Hair. This is the COVID hair. You can't even, because it's so dark there, you can't even really tell. It's actually quite long here at the back. Longest it's been in like, I don't know, 30 years. This is the longest it's been in a very long time. And the greyest it's ever been. So, yes. But this is me now. When I was always, because I was always coloring my hair when I was on YouTube, either comparatively subtle sort of brown, or if I was bored, like something that had purple highlights or something. So my grey would show up purple highlights. And then I was always wondering, when am I going to act my age? Now, apparently. Yes, Abigail, this is absolute hippie stuff here. Look at that. That's hair out there. Hippie stuff. And it goes curly. My hair goes curly when it's this long. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do about haircuts because I can get a haircut if I want one. Was Invisible Chicken, a gourmet news place got banned in Australia from Gourmet and Gourmand. Well, the initial sweep that Facebook did was very imprecise and poorly applied, and they say they're going to gradually fix that because they blocked a lot of pages and whatnot that definitely aren't news pages. They say they're going to fix it. I think, because Frydenberg says he's going to be talking to Zuckerberg, meeting of the Bergs, again about it. I mean, if I was Zuckerberg, I'd just be wearing a T-shirt that said "fuck around and find out," because that is a real definite statement from Facebook of we've decided we can live without you, and if this sort of comes back at the government that this all happened because of them, they will not be popular. So that's what they're facing. But again, this government is so freaking clueless, and they never face any repercussions. They never take responsibility for any of their fuck ups. This might be one they can't hide from. Who knows? Shields, you got pissed with your long hair the other day, and let's just say it's shorter now. Yeah, I haven't got the shits with it yet. I look a bit mad scientist in the mornings. Then I wash it and I just brush it back, and it stays there largely. So it's a low maintenance hairstyle at the moment. Let it grow a bit more. I can go full hippie. Like I'll be able to pull it all the way back and put a ponytail in. Oh my God, that'd be sad, wouldn't it? Anyway. Oh yes, Visible Chicken Zuckerberg could borrow Melania's coat. Do I look like I care? Abigail, that's the fundamental issue you hit on there. Who do you back? I don't back either of them. Facebook is an evil, greedy, irresponsible company that's been pivotal in several genocides or attempted genocides, and they don't fucking care. The LNP are just taking dictation from Rupert Murdoch with their bullshit. I mean, it's a huge red warning sign. Any government policy, is this a good government policy or a bad government policy? If it's being dictated by Rupert Murdoch, it's an inherently bad policy. So yeah, it is very hard to know. So would I equate it? It was like there's a Nazi and a pedophile fighting, and someone says, "Who are you going for?" And I'm like, I don't know. Could they both get knocked out? Because that kind of feels like an appropriate result. Get them both knocked out. But yeah, they suck bigly. They are really fucking awful, the pair of them. Yeah, it's just really fucked, basically. I can't think of a better word. Oh, wait, was something happening in a... Ooh, okay. Kirsten has a date night suggestion. Awesome. Okay, kind of have to check that out. I was trying to find something on Facebook. What was that? So I got bored and posted a whole bunch of memes on Facebook today, basically. Like, oh, who cares that the news is gone? Look at the stupid images I have on my phone. Because they technically weren't all memes. They were images, and there's about 50 of them I shared. It's just stuff I've saved over the years. Some are better than others. I think some of them are really funny, and some of them are just a bit weird. And I mean, okay, sorry. There's something happening on the other side of the kitchen. I just need to check. It'll only take me a second. I'll over here. No, it's all good. You know, when things that heat up or cool down they do that ticking thing. Young Ms. Angry was just cooking something on the sandwich press over there, and she's left, and I could still hear it doing the ticking noise. And I thought, wait, is that because it's cooling down, or is it still on? And it was driving me a bit crazy. I had to know. And she did switch it off, so it's just cooling down, making that noise. Abigail, you downloaded a bunch of good. I'm glad they were worth adding to your collection. So another Facebook friend, Hannah, regularly posts just enormous numbers of memes and some really good quality ones. I always appreciate when she does a meme dump. She filled up one album and started a second one, and the second one's called "Who Knew You Could Only Have 10,000 Images in a Facebook Album." So her first meme dump collection's 10,000, and she started on another one. So yeah. Safi, a local donut shop has a donut called the James Dean. Okay, I'm having trouble working out an association between donuts and James Dean. I don't know if you're going to enlighten me. No. I think it's like the first hour. I might try my newest clarified cocktail and see what it's like. Miserable Chicken, you're popular with a couple of your brother's friends for the content share. You share good bits as well. Us? It's a nice baby. Dun, 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 dun. The ist the ice. Hey, where is it? I don't remember where I put the ice. Wait, sorry, I know what I'm doing. Oh, I am so smart. S-M-R-T. S-M-A-R-T. Alright. You, big old block of ice. You're actually too big. Where? There you go. I was going to spoil myself with a really big block of ice. That's actually too big for the glass. I didn't realise that. And even as I did that, I think I discovered that previously, and I just forgot. So, just a medium big block of ice rather than a really big block of ice. Put that in there. Good Lord. Oh, Shieldsy, boomer memes are cursed, man. Boomer memes are fucking cursed. It's what? Okay, the James Dean donut is got white chocolate filling. I still am not getting a James Dean. Oh, wait. Do you mean the porn star James Dean? That's D-E-E-N, I think. Is that the reference? I don't know. Celtic King, Toby and yourself want to start a meme site, but you need to learn how to start and maintain the site. That is a fundamental thing. Yes, having to learn and put the work in. Yes, James Dean, D-E-A-N, is the actor from the mid-20th century. It's one of those ironic deaths. He did a car safety film for, I think it was aimed at high school students, and then he died in a car crash. Crashed his car into a tree, I think. Not sure. He hit a tree or another car. James Dean. He was in a very cool sports car. Died in 1955. He was traveling to a sports car racing competition when his car crashed. He was 24. God damn. He would have been a legend. If he had lived to old age, he would have been a legendary actor, possibly up to Marlon Brando levels, because he was real good and he was only 24. So let's see. So Dean was traveling with his Porsche factory-trained mechanic because this car hadn't had enough break-in miles prior to the race. Mechanic recommended Dean drive it to Salinas to get more seat time. He was stopped by a highway patrol for driving 65 in a 55 zone. So then they tried to avoid Bakersfield's slow speed, a known shortcut for sports car drivers going to Salinas. Approximately 5:50 p.m., driving west, accelerated his car, left the Ford station wagon far behind. Left his okay. Approximately 5:45, black and white Ford Judo driven at high speed was headed east. Its driver is a 23-year-old, made a left turn. Ford crossed over the center line. Dean, clearly seeing an imminent crash, apparently tried to steer the Spider into a sidestepping racing maneuver, but with insufficient time and space, the two cars collided almost head-on. A witness reportedly saw Dean's car smash into the ground 2 or 3 times in cartwheels. Right, so he actually hit another car. They're saying it was the other car's fault. Abigail, I'm not sure if his road safety thing was a TV ad. But anyway, he did a road safety public service announcement, whether it was a TV ad or one of the films they show at high schoolers. Should be trolling eBay. Is it bad you order ID holders now looking for cheese grater? That's the one thing I don't really. I have bought from eBay. I have bought from Amazon, but not much. I normally buy through direct websites rather than buying it off one of those sites. Yeah, with all the stuff that I bought during the pandemic, and I've done a lot of retail therapy. Let me tell you, it definitely hasn't been through eBay, and has hardly been through Amazon. I think it was the last thing I bought from either eBay or Amazon might have been my ring light. Actually, that was on either eBay or Amazon. I don't remember which. But that might be one of the very few things I bought from one of those sites in the last year. Cheers. Why do these things always look like urine samples? It's just the degree of hydration that changes. Ooh, that's got some interesting flavors in it. This has got whiskey and rum and some vermouth type aromatized wines in it. Ooh, it's quite nice. It's got a little slight bitterness on the back palate. It's like the last taste you get. Not an unpleasant bitterness, just a really light bitterness. But yeah, it's good. Invisible Chicken. I have in the past bought books from Book Depository. Mrs. Angry buys a lot from Book Depository. I just haven't been. You'd reckon with all staying at home, I'd read more, and I read far less because I used to read on public transport commuting to work. And I could just say, oh well, I'd normally read for half an hour. I should sit down, and I don't. I'm really fucking slack. I should be a bit more disciplined and set aside specific time for reading. I should, but I don't. And I feel kind of bad about that, but I don't know. I'll get back into it one day. Haven't even been reading my comics. That's weird. I've been reading my comics. Abigail buys books from the book suppository. Yes, the lesser known specialty seller. Convenient shaped books. You can smuggle them into prisons. You fuck, man, you would not guess how alcoholic this is. Because there's actually a fair bit of booze in this. Drinking, I don't know, half or slightly less than half of this. And if I remember rightly, there's like 1, 2, 3, there's at least 4 shots of like full strength alcohol, like 40% alcohol, spirits. And there's not 3 or 4 shots of lower ABV vermouths. So it's got booze in it. It doesn't taste like it. It really doesn't taste like it. I think I can already feel the booze there. Right? It's got a little fruity taste. And like I said, just a little bit of bitterness, which is not unpleasant. It's yeah, and it's got that little extra sort of silkiness because the milk clarification puts the whey from the milk in there, so it just makes the liquid a little bit more viscous. It gives it mouthfeel. It's very silky. Lucky Kirsten isn't here. She'd be saying those are all shot words and insist I do shots for saying mouthfeel. And I don't think viscous is a bad word. But referring to something being late on the palate might be declared shot worthy. It stems back to another live stream that Kirsten and I were watching, and she declared that if the guy who's talking about spirits and cocktails, if he said really wanky words like a wine wanker, he had to do a shot as punishment to learn not to say really wanky things, which was a fun little game to play. So that's what I mean when I say be punished with a shot. It just means being a wanker. Oh dear. Just wondering how this dumb Facebook shit is going to play out. On one level, I really don't care. Very, very, very hard to care about these shitheads. Now I want to look up this place. Do a Google search on this. What is this? The Imbue Distillery. Okay, I think that's not too far away from me. Like what's on there? Okay, they've got an interesting looking cocktail menu. Nice. They got a few interesting looking cocktails. You can do tasting paddles. Just got to see. No, that's not what I wanted to see. I see where they actually are, how far away it is from my place. They're on Upper Heidelberg Road. So I'm going to open up a map. Yes, it is. Directions from my home. It's a half-hour drive. Okay, that's actually a little bit far for a date night. What trams? I could get a 67 tram there. Oh, then it's saying get no. It's actually probably not on for a date night, although it does sound interesting. It's worth checking anyway. Oh, well. Yes, Abigail, it is nearer to you. It's on your side. Abigail, you believe the word mouthfeel was invented by the YouTuber ContraPoints when describing the way a penis feels in one mouth. I know she's used it in that context. I think at least some of the gourmands who use it to describe the consistency of food and drink, at least some of them would be a bit mortified at that proposition. But I mean, it's fitting. Hey, it's fitting like a penis in a mouth. Hey. Okay. So, yes. Do we really want to go down that road of talking about mouthfeel? I'm trying to see if there's anything big happening. People are still bitching about bloody Facebook. Yes, everyone's making jokes about going back to MySpace now. Oh no, Shieldsy, you bought from an eBay store, but they don't do parcel tracking. You have no idea how long it's going to take. All right, I'm going to quickly scan here. What are they saying in the news headlines? It's a great headline from The Guardian. Even for a company that specializes in PR disasters, Facebook has excelled with its Australian blackout. So people bitching about that. Interesting. ABC saying there's a political cost for Dan Andrews. What are they claiming? Yep. No, I think they're talking shit myself, but anyway. Yes, Federal Liberal Party and their complete mishandling and absolute disregard for the staffer who was raped by another staffer. And yeah. And they just seem to be making it worse, actually. Ooh, human bones found on South Australian beach. I know it was more interesting. I don't know if anyone else saw the story. Cocaine has been washing up on beach, like packages of cocaine. So either a cocaine smuggling boat has sunk or a plane has crashed, or a cocaine smuggling boat was about to be busted, and so they threw everything overboard because big blocks, like, they're saying like 10 kilo blocks of cocaine washed up on a Queensland beach and washed up on a New Zealand beach. So the police says, yeah, probably more's going to wash up. You shouldn't open it if it does. Wah, 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 wah. Oh, it'd be weird. I mean, it would seriously be more trouble than it's worth, but it'd be a weird temptation if, big chunk of cocaine washed up and go, well, they won't miss one packet. I'll just tell the cops about the rest. And I don't use cocaine, so I don't want to use a kilo of cocaine. But I have to admit, there would be a temptation. Like, surely I know someone seedy enough who'd have contacts with a cocaine dealer who I could sell this to. But it just seems like more trouble than it's worth. I'd be paranoid the entire time that cops were onto it and would bust me, or slightly less likely you get screwed over in the deal and murdered or whatever. But the temptation of if a massive bundle of cocaine washed up on a beach and I found it, the temptation to somehow do something would be strong. But I think at the end of the day, it's just too much hassle. It's just far too much hassle. Far too much chance of something going hideously wrong and fucking up your whole life. So it would actually just be easier to say to the cops, here, you sell it. I mean, sorry, you put it into evidence. Because cops aren't corrupt. They don't sell drugs that they confiscate. That doesn't happen. Anyone who says that, it's a dirty liar. It's a dirty lie. I won't stand for it if people are going to just, call cops corrupt and soulless. That's just not on, I'm afraid. That's not something that can be tolerated. So I'll have no more of that. If anyone was thinking that, cast that thought out of your head, is what I'm saying. I can't be allowing that sort of scuttlebutt and subterfuge and just naysaying against our fine legal institutions. Okay? We're just be like Dan Andrews and just give the cops lots of power and always back the cops no matter what they do and no matter who they beat up and no matter how much they abuse their power. Just back the blue. Wow, sarcasm. That's original. Did anyone get that? Sure, we're all nerd enough to, well, not all, but I'm sure there's people here who are nerd enough to get that reference. Raiders, Melbourne cops were selling precursor chemicals, allegedly. Even if some of them were convicted in court of doing it, I'd still throw allegedly at the end because it gets a bit weird otherwise. I had a guy who was a cop and was having a bad time of it, and he was just sending me these messages telling me all the fucking dirt, because he'd been a cop out in Frankston, which is a pretty fucking garbage area to be a cop, and he was just telling me just the ordinary everyday dirty stuff cops do, and it's just fuck, okay. And he said, yeah, you shouldn't really repeat this stuff because it'll get you on the wrong side of someone. So if I think Dan Andrews is channeling Chancellor Palpatine, unlimited power. Well, the man has never met a punitive enforcement measure he didn't like, basically. And he's never blinked for a second on the question of supporting cops, no matter what they do. He's never had a moment's pause in his support for the cops. All right, is that case you're talking about was during underbelly times, during the mob wars? Was that 90s, early noughties, the height of the mob war in Melbourne? Which is really funny because you tell Americans, oh, yeah, we had a mob war. Oh, what happened? 13 people got killed. What, in a weekend? No, over a decade. And they just look at you going, what? It's if we have a mob war, 13 people get killed in a weekend. And it's yeah, well, we're a bit more circumspect than you. We take our time. So what do I reckon about extending emergency power to Dan Andrews? Look, in the slightly unpopular opinion thing of, I don't think he has abused the emergency powers. It's certainly not impossible that he could abuse power in the future, but I think broadly he's done a pretty good job. Inner Deviant on Twitch, hello. Raiders, say it ain't so. Some of Melbourne's drug squad members are still doing time. Oh no, the drug squad in the police force were corrupt? I don't think that's happened anywhere in the world. And that's why there should be a royal commission into Peter fucking Dutton. Where the fuck does he get his money from? Because he seemed to have way too many assets for someone who retired as a cop. And lordy, he was a Queensland drug cop. Drug divisions, notoriously the most corrupt of all police forces. And he was in the Queensland police force, notoriously the most corrupt police force in Australia. But I'm sure he's completely clean. Just because he has difficult to explain wealth and assets, and just because he retired early, or there was suggestion there might be some investigation, I'm sure he's completely clean. And that's why we should have a royal commission into just Peter Dutton. Because that would clear his name, because I'm sure he's innocent of any wrongdoing. And if we had a complete investigation into him, it would all be cleared up. Inner Deviant, you like my shirt? Thank you. It's my Stormtrooper shirt. I always wear a helmet. That's probably a really attractive pose I just did then, wasn't it? Yeah. Raiders, was Dutton a federal cop? I do not know. I am not aware of him being a federal cop, but it's literally just there. I'm not aware one way or the other. Right. That was a good idea, Angry. Why did you do that? I just tried to put another bit of ice in my glass, and honestly not the most successful venture I've ever had. C'est la vie, or as the French actually pronounce it, c'est la vie. Adds, your dad knew Peter Dutton when he was a cop. Ah, your old man was a cop at the same time. Ooh, I bet he's got stories. The stories this lad was telling me about being a cop in Victoria would pale into insignificance in comparison to someone who could come up with dirt on Queensland cops. God damn. Allegedly. Just every now and then, I'm just going to say allegedly. Just for my own protection. Pugwash, hello. Thought for a second Maggie Thatcher had died again. I think that might have been one of the memes I shared today. There's a Twitter feed called Fun Margaret Thatcher Facts, and all they ever tweet, and I think they tweet it multiple times a day, is she's still dead. Like, that's the only fun Margaret Thatcher fact you need. She's still dead. It's Thatcher. I just think of the last episode of The Young Ones. Thatcher's Britain. Thatcher's bloody Britain. This is my other cocktail. That's, again, different. Nobody. Hello. You're on a Skype chat with Azy the other day. Boss of the house found out Azy was talking to a Queenslander, and now he's in trouble. Oh, God. Abigail, your dad, they were too corrupt. One of the more outrageous stories I knew was a friend of a friend. There's a friend of mine from college. He had a friend who, like, my friend went to college, which is where we met, and his friend went in the police force on the northern beaches of Sydney. and they were all super fucking corrupt, and he didn't want to be. And he's like, it's cool, fellas, just don't involve me. That's not good enough, because if you're clean, they always think you're going to rat them out, no matter how much you say, I'm not a rat. And they were just blatant. Like when they did drug busts, they were just keeping half of it. And he's like, and he's trying to stay out of their way. And he had to really put his foot down when they're trying to like give him drugs or money. Like, no. And then one day he opened his locker, and there are security cameras at the lockers, and there was a bag of cocaine in his locker with a note on it saying, "This is your cut from the other night." And the bag had a tear in it. So basically everything in his locker would be contaminated with cocaine. If there was a drug swab test done on any of his clothes or anything that he had in his locker, it would turn up positive for cocaine. So in other words, they were just saying, you're in no matter what. So he resigned because they were just so fucking corrupt. Shields, do you think your rain today is trying to make up for the lack of rain in January? We actually had a lot of rain in January here, but yeah, no big storms. Nobody. Yeah. Oh, well, AZ needs punishment every now and then, mate. That's what comes down to it. Oh, yeah, Pugwash. It's like everyone's talking about the Facebook news blackout today. Don't really give a shit. Ads told a story. Dutton picked up a trouble Indigenous youth. Oh, that's a really that's a super fucking common cop thing. It's like they do it to lefty protesters, like climate change protesters that they beat up and arrest, leave them in a paddy wagon for hours, and then to book them, because they check their ID and find out where they live, and to book them, they drive them basically to the police station that's furthest away from where they live, and in some cases, in Metro Melbourne, that can be nigh on 100 kilometres. They go like right out to a perimeter police station and process them there, and then say, now you're free to go home. And you're like 50 to 100 kilometers from home. Yeah. So that whole driving people off to nowhere and dumping them, that's a really fucking common cop thing. Oh, okay, Raiders. You looked it up. Dutton wasn't a Fed, but you conflated accusations of him being dodgy with a Fed. Yeah. Yeah, Safa, I think Dutton would super get along with Russian cops, actually. Big time. But Dutton is a fucking totalitarian. Wants to spy on people, wants to take away people's basic rights, wants to punish people that he does not agree with. Dutton is a fucking sociopathic piece of shit. Like he's particularly bad. He's just a piece of shit. Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan of PD Dutton, basically. So yeah, fuck that guy. To put it mildly, fuck that guy. Yes, Safa, it was particularly weird when Dutton thought he should be PM. It would be funny if Dutton had won that leadership spill that weirdly went to Scott Morrison by default. If Dutton had been Prime Minister for a short time before the federal election, the fucking Libs would have got slaughtered. I love Dutton's level of self-delusion is so high, he has no idea that an overwhelming majority of the population find him repulsive. It's quite funny to me, honestly. Nobody wouldn't tell Putin that Dutton secretly plans to overthrow him. Dutton would like to give it a go, I think. Pugwash, what's in my glass? This is a milk clarified cocktail I made. And I'm having trouble remembering what was actually in it because I made it last week. Stuff. There's stuff in it. There's some spirit. There is some fruit juice. There is some vermouth in it, aka aromatized or fortified wine. And then it's been And so it was like an almost opaque brown, and then I milk clarified it, and it goes this nice clear yellow color. Ah, okay. Danger, Will Robinson. Move that over there, because I almost had an accident. Yes, Raiders. Michaela Cash. She's fucked. She is absolutely fucked. But I mean, who in the LNP isn't? Seriously, they're all fucked. There was a funny thing the other day on Twitter. ABC Melbourne Radio tweeting they're doing an interview with someone MP about like Dan Andrews is fucked, and Sophie Marquez a liberal, and I didn't recognize the name. So I clicked on it to find out who it was, and it's actually the opposition leader. It's the leader of the Liberal Party in Victoria. He's such a fucking non-entity. I don't know his name, and I'm a political tragic. It's just really funny. He's so fucked. No one knows who he is. That's the funny thing. Like you often get this thing with if you show politician's photo to people in the street and say, do you know who this is? They don't. But in Melbourne, in Victoria, you could go up to people on the street, show the photo and say, this is whatever his fucking name is. Like, do you know who this is? And we're like, no. It's like, leader of the opposition, person who thinks he should be premier. No one knows who he is. It's fucking hilarious. So, yeah. The Victorian Liberals have a bit of a problem. And I am quite convinced the Victorian Liberal Party are going to get absolutely fucking smashed in the next state election, despite all the Murdoch shit trying to dump on Dan Andrews. It's kind of like at the last election, they ran this bullshit about, Melbourne's in the grip of a crime wave. African youth are terrorizing people. People are too scared to leave their home. Everyone went, no, I'm not. That's not happening. You keep saying it's happening, but it isn't. And so they got smashed at the election, and this time the Murdoch media is nonstop. Oh, Dan Andrews, he's a tyrant, he's terrible, he's blah, blah, blah. And the majority of the states going, no, it's not that bad. I mean, it's everything we're going through is shit, but people are seeing the results and going, well, broadly, especially when you look at the rest of the world, we're doing real fucking well. And the Murdoch media is going to continue with their usual lies in the lead up to the next election. And I think the public's just going to go, that's not real. That's stuff you're saying. That's not real. And the libs are going to get fucking smashed big time. That's my prediction. And I could easily be completely wrong because, as I've said, the world makes no sense and predicting anything is a mug's game, but I can't stop myself from doing it. I would say Labor are going to win the next state election with an increased majority. Much like in the next federal election, the LNP are going to win with an increased majority because federal Labor are fucking shite. In a deviant, sounds like Fox News. Well, yeah, see, Murdoch's behind Fox News in the US, and Murdoch's behind the major conservative outlets here in Australia and England, for that matter. He's a fucking monster. Yeah. Invisible Chicken is really funny how excited Colbert was not knowing any of the people who work for Biden. I did see that. It's just like, and I said that before the election, like bar for Biden is so low. It's basically just don't be a fucking train wreck. Just be a vaguely decent human. Just have people who are vaguely competent in roles. Try not to have too many sort of high profile fuck ups. And it's a really low bar, and he's getting there. And the whole normality, the whole uneventfulness of Biden so far is he's fucking selling. I mean, yeah, it's been, what's it, a month? It's ridiculous to put anything on him yet. But the whole just be boring is like a huge thing. And fuck, hasn't it been good not having Trump in the media? Because he just, was saying dumb shit. He was always going on Twitter doing dumb shit, and they're all slavishly reporting. How good is it that Trump hasn't been in the media almost at all since he was gone? Oh my God, that's so fucking refreshing. Oh, nobody. I'm 100. If someone says who to vote for, I am 100% vote Labor. Jesus fucking Christ. But I don't think my voice counts for shit, quite honestly. And it's like a thing Friendly Jordy's had to come to terms with. His campaigning doesn't count for shit. Didn't seem to have any positive effect whatsoever on the New South Wales election. So I think the Liberals winning the next election is a fucking nightmare. I think it's horrifying. And I am 1,000,000% if someone says who should vote for, oh God, vote Labor. LNP are a fucking disaster, and it's just going to get worse. But it's just Labor. I say my voice doesn't count for shit, and Labor aren't doing a goddamn fucking thing to inspire anyone to vote for them. It's pathetic. Yeah, Invisible Chicken. It's great not knowing anything about what Trump's doing or thinking. It's fucking great. America's like when a woman starts dating women after having to deal with dudes for so long, the bar's so low. Yep, it really is. It really is. Adds, Labor don't want to rock the boat because scared shitless of the Murdoch media. But it doesn't work. They're fucking pathetic. They're just fucking pathetic. Doing the whole, we've got all the same policies as the Liberal Party, but we're not as bad, so vote for us. It's like, fuck off. It's like Shorten managed to fuck up by never really standing out. Just, they was so, and honestly, I was confident as well. But they never did anything more than, I'm not that guy. And honestly, I thought that was enough because that guy was fucking terrible. But I underestimated the ferocity of the Murdoch media, and it just like, it really seemed like Labor was playing the, just be quiet, don't do anything, and we'll fall across the line, and then we can do good policies. It's like, no, fucking come up with good policies. Sell them to people. Inspire people to vote for you. Stop being so fucking vapid and weak. It's pathetic. It's like, why do I want to vote for Liberal Party light? Might as well just vote for the fucking Liberal Party. Again, if anyone's going to ask me who to vote for, definitely vote ALP, not LNP, because, it's just going to, again, I have basically no doubt the LNP are going to win the next federal election, probably with an increased majority, and the following 4 years are just going to be so fucked. And I think it's unavoidable. I think it's as simple as that. It's unavoidable. Your Raiders, Shorten wanted to be Hawke and failed dismally. But Hawke inspired people. I mean, he was playing his whole larrikin blokey routine and whatnot. But it's like Fraser was old and stale, and Hawke was vibrant and stood for something, and stuff was going to change, and da-da-da. And Shorten was just sort of, just keep a low profile. I'm not that guy. That guy, that guy. Which, again, I honestly thought was going to work. and I was bemoaning that it sucks that that's going to work. I was so fucking shocked when the LNP won the election. I did not see that coming. I spent a bit of time bemoaning how shithouse the ALP's campaign was and how much it sucked that the whole thing could be summed up as "I'm not that guy," which I thought was fucking pathetic. I also thought it was going to work. I was so shocked and absolutely demoralized when the LNP won. I was fucked. I was really fucked. So Labor had franking credits. What do I think about franking credits? ALP should have aggressively fought back against the lies the LNP said about, oh, it's taxing pensioners. They should have fought back hard and said how this is only going to affect 1% of the population. The overwhelming majority of people don't have franking credits. When the LNP say this is going to hurt retirees, 99% of the time, that's a fucking lie. And they just freaked out and panicked and tried to keep it around. It's ridiculous because the tax dodge that Labor was talking about repealing, which they absolutely fucking should have, was a vote buying rort that Howard came up with in the 90s. It literally exists nowhere else in the world because it's such bad economic policy. It's fucking terrible. And yeah, it fucking ate Labor up because they wouldn't respond properly because they thought they didn't have to. I thought they didn't have to. But yeah, that particular tax rort should absolutely be done away with because it's fucking bullshit. Pugwash, you had one local politician canvass your door, spoke about 30 seconds and said, "You're not going to vote for me, are you?" He was right. Nice. Adds Whitlam, Hawke, Keating all had cult of personality. They do. And Shorten had no fucking personality. I thought Albanese had a personality. He's got less personality than fucking Shorten. Or he's deliberately presenting less personality than Shorten. It's fucking pathetic. But, oh yes, Raiders, the comparison of Vic Labor versus federal. Like I said, I reckon the next two election results, Victoria State and Australia Federal, are going to be reversed. I think in Victoria, Labor's going to romp in with an increased majority. I think federally, the LNP is going to romp in with an increased majority. Sigh. It's just fucked. I'm absolutely stunned by how much federal Labor suck, honestly. It's just, like I said, in terms of policy and whatnot, and who I think should be running government, it's not even close. Don't hesitate for a second. For me, it would be far preferable for Labor to be running things. But then I just look at them as a political party and how they present to the public, and it's like, ugh, what the fuck? Honestly, you guys suck so much. Yeah, Shizzy, you're right. Actually, both major parties are mad for the backstabbing. Yeah, there keeps being rumors about Albanese. Keeps being rumors about the Victorian Liberal leader. It's just bullshit. Safa, cities generally tend to be more progressive than regional areas. That's generally true around the world. And I'm sure sociologists have a whole bunch of reasons for that. But it's kind of being exposed to diversity has a very strong tendency to make you embrace diversity. Like people who have never traveled tend to be far more insular, conservative, and racist than people who have traveled. Because you just see more and witness more and realize the great big old world is out there. So people who don't experience that sort of diversity have a tendency to be very inwardly focused. And that is by and large not great, in my opinion. So that's why, embracing change, I think, is a good thing. Some people just are not into it, and that is the way it goes ultimately. So, what are you going to do? I should stop doing that because that's a really horrible character from Big Mouth. Anyway, adds there's some speculation Scummo might have a challenge in the near future because of Rapegate. That's a long way down the road. I mean, he should, because he's been lying, and all his handling of it has consistently shown he does not give a shit about victims of sexual assault. He absolutely has shown he's just fucking abominable, basically. Yeah, he is just a piece of shit, basically. I will not hold my breath for him to face any repercussions, because it just seems to just blithely ignore any responsibility and get away with it. It just keeps doing it. Like how badly he fucked up handling the bushfires end of 2019, start of 2020. And like he royally fucked that. And people were really angry at him, rightly so. But he just skated on by. He just absolutely is not into taking responsibility for anything and doesn't want to face repercussions for anything. So, yeah. And yeah, Raiders, like Trump supporters, Morrison supporters, just don't care. Let me get some water. I think it would be good if I hydrated before bed. Although it will probably make me have to get up and pee during the night, but that's okay. Jeremy, how much would it cost for America to secure 600 million COVID vaccines? A whole lot of vaccines, one for every American. Yeah, it cost a lot, definitely. But as we've seen, it costs more to not address the pandemic. Very expensive, cost billions of dollars, but not addressing it would cost trillions. Pugwash, what happened to our bushfires? For some reason, news forgot about them. Look, they were under control by about this time last year, and there's only been one bad bushfire this whole summer. We were really spared this summer, sort of in the outer suburbs of Perth in Western Australia. Just in the last couple of weeks, there was a very bad bushfire that destroyed about 100 homes. But yeah, we've had a wet summer, so we have had a very low-key bushfire season this year. I do worry that the extra rain is going to promote a bunch of undergrowth, which is basically fuel for bushfires, and next summer's going to be even worse. Won't know until next summer, but I worry about that a bit. Oh yes, God, for those who don't know, Morrison spent like $100,000 or more on empathy coaches for himself and cabinet, and it didn't fucking work. It did not fucking work. That guy has no empathy whatsoever. Sorry. Yes, thank you, Shieldsy. There was a pretty intense one on Fraser Island as well. So the only two serious bushfires all summer were Fraser Island and Perth. Yep. Jeremy, the World Health Organization didn't want first world countries to buy so many vaccines, and they wanted to be fairer with the third world. And what did the first world countries say? Get fucked. Yes. As a medical apartheid, as some people have put it, was very, very, very noticeable. Yeah, it's All kinds of bullshit. It's funny as Facebook's doing their nuclear option with shutting down news links in Australia, Google seemed to actually be making deals with media outlets, which just makes just makes Facebook look particularly bad. But Facebook is particularly bad. Google's bad. They're freaking bad. Murdoch is worse. The LNP is worse. But yeah, it's like, the old giant douche versus turd sandwich. Who says we have to actually prefer one over the other because they're both really shitty options? Yeah, and that's what we got in the world. I think, honestly, I think Google are marginally better than Facebook. YouTube has been particularly bad with radicalizing people, but I don't know that Google can really be pointed at as being as directly involved in genocide as Facebook is, because Facebook is really fucking bad. So yeah, Jeremy, Google threatened to pull their platform. Microsoft said, "No worries, we've got Bing Maps and OneDrive." Yeah, well, Google are making deals, and yes, Safa, it's all just about money for Murdoch. In a deviant, yeah. The trouble is, the lesser of two evils is still evil. So yeah. Pugwash, old man next door said, I saw the PM talking about Cronenberg on TV. That's all the news I needed. Excellent. Excellent. Yes, Jeremy, Facebook are one of many companies who put operations in Ireland who gave them a tax-free status, which is a big fucking mistake. But it happens. And yes, so they dodged tax in America, they dodged tax in Australia. It sucks. Uh, but, God, that's an age-old thing, isn't it? Rich pricks dodging tax. Yeah. Speaking of rich pricks and dodging, what's Bezos got to do now? Officially stepping down as head of Amazon. Was it just like rest of his life, luxury yachts, hookers and blow? I mean, like it's literally impossible for him to spend the wealth he's accumulated, no matter what he does. God knows what he's going to do. Yes, Pugwash, banks having HQ in Isle of Man. There's always been tax dodgers in the Caribbean, Isle of Man. Ireland did it for a bunch of people. Shannon, good evening to you, sir. Good to see you. Nice to be able to say hello before bedtime. So we're creeping up on bedtime. So, yes, I like to keep drinking to lubricate my throat while I'm talking, which is why I wanted to have a bit of water then. So I'm tempted to drink some more, but then I really will have to get up in the middle of the night to piss, possibly more than once, which is not my favorite thing. I would prefer to sort of sleep through the night. Man's got to do what a man's got to do. There we are, coming up on bedtime. That was my first yawn. Oh, Shannon, you want to have a quick talk about Facebook? Sure. It's all we've been talking about. Pest. Ooh, Shieldsy, ice cream time. Nice. Raiders, I think I could handle Monaco as a good tax avoidance location. Yes, if I win lotto, that's where I'm fucking off to. Some nice tax haven that has nice weather. Somewhat like that. So I just put the chat for last minute. Link chat. Grasshopper.
Good evening, good sir. How are you?
Good, how you doing?
Not too badly. Just started working on the new case for my computer, which is incredibly fiddly and time-consuming, but it's going to look fantastic when it's finished.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Now, woke up this morning to Facebook banning people from posting Australian news links
Yes.
because of the policies that the libs are trying to put through in
Yes.
regards to Facebook and Google having to pay to have them up or to pay to link to them or something?
Yeah. Yeah. And as I've been saying before, it's basically like seeing a fight between a pedophile and a Nazi, and someone says, who do you want to win? I'm going like, neither of them. Could they knock each other out? That would be good.
It is. It's one of those things that I feel a bit weird being on the side of Zuckerberg and something because, as best I can tell, this is nothing but a political blowjob to the Murdoch press.
Oh, the policy was literally dictated by Murdoch. So on the one side, you've got Facebook, who are shit. Apparently you've overcompensated for people previously saying your mic was low, and now Abigail says loud noises. But that's okay. I can't tell. But yes, Facebook are shit without question. But this policy has just been dictated by Murdoch, and that's fucking horse shit.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry. I'm still kind of learning about this whole thing as it's all going on because I saw the whole thing that Google was complaining about laws being put into Australia and how it was going to change the way that Google operated and blah. And where that's concerned, I don't really care because Google is like this multi-billion-dollar multinational superpower in the IT world. They're never going away.
yeah, yeah,
But where Facebook is concerned, I'm of kind of two minds in regards to it, and I'm trying to get a bit more information, and I generally trust your view on these sorts of topics.
yeah,
Now, I'm of two minds because part of the argument is that it would start giving money to lesser known publications, lesser known journalists, and more recognition for their work.
yeah.
I don't see if that would actually be a thing. Do you think that that would actually be a thing?
They say, deep breath, that's bullshit. That is a complete and utter fucking lie. This is about media companies basically going, Google and Facebook have lots of money. We want some of it. There have been variations of this for the last 10 or so years. And it's always about greed. It's never about principle. It is never about supporting independent producers. It is all, and I'm not joking, and it's not exaggeration. It's not hyperbole. What the LNP is proposing was dictated to them by Murdoch. It was actually composed by News Limited people, and the libs just wrote their name at the bottom of it. And it is basically an enormous red flag for anything is Rupert Murdoch supports it.
Oh yeah.
Now, admittedly, all the media companies support it, and that's all blatant. And look, there's not that there's anything wrong with self-interest because they are fucking going under. All the media companies are going all the news media companies are going under. So it's like it's not clear cut, but what I've seen of the policy is absolute bullshit. It was like it's literally like, well, Facebook is shit, okay, and they're not to be trusted, and they're fucking evil. But this policy is just dictated by Murdoch, and what I've always had a problem with, and particularly when they ragged on Google. Like for the Google News, all Google News does is put the headline there and then it links back to the original site. It's like, motherfucker, if they stop doing that, traffic to your site's going to drop by 90% overnight. If they stop putting your news outlet on their news headlines page, traffic to your site is going to stop by 90%
Well,
overnight.
that was definitely the part of it that didn't make sense in my head. Is that if Facebook bans all of these links and whatnot, like for all of these smaller journalists and all of that sort of stuff, that apparently it's going to help. If the LMP are successful with getting this through, and Facebook actually has to follow it, like in the meantime, it's going to be so disastrous towards people going towards their sites that they're going to be out of business before it becomes law anyway.
Yeah, and I will reiterate, it has nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with helping independent media outlets. It is 100% about the major outlets, 99% about Murdoch outlets, but the other major outlets like, The Age and the Sydney Morning Herald are 100% on board with it as well. And it's always seemed really strange to me that on both Facebook and Google, all you see is the headline. If you want the story, you actually have to click on the link and
Hmm.
go to the site. So I've always been a little dubious about their claim that, they're making money as an aggregator. They basically invented a new business model that was as an aggregator of news headlines and a sharer of news headlines. But if they copied the news stories and put them on their own site, that would be criminal. But they aggregate the links and send people to the sites. And so there's a big stinking pile of bullshit behind the media company argument, as far as I'm concerned. It's like there's no clear cut. There's not like these people are right and these people are wrong. It's two entities who are both super fucked, fighting over something. And yeah.
It's one of those things. I have my browser, my computer, my phone, etc., all set up in such a way that Facebook can't track as much of my activity as it would like. It still tracks, but not anywhere
Yeah.
near as much. And same thing for Google and all of that sort of stuff. And it stops some things of some websites from working in particular ways and blah. But you can always work around it. It doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
But I've been doing that because I understand and I completely hate this whole collection of data on people and then selling that to fucking
Yeah.
advertisers and whatnot. It's fucked. And as a result, I've always had a healthy distrust of Facebook and Google in regards to that. But when it comes to this, I can definitely get on Facebook's side on this one, and it makes me feel a bit like, am I right in this?
Yeah, and as I said, it's this weird thing. It's not cut and dried. Um, of course, Facebook are now being massively undercut by the fact Google is actually cutting deals with media companies.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, they're making a deal here in Australia as well. Apparently
Yeah,
worth like tens of millions of dollars, apparently.
yeah. So basically, it's really savagely undermining Facebook's position that Google's going, oh, look, okay, don't be cocks. We'll actually cut deals with people. Your legislation is shit. What it feels to me that Facebook is doing is they're going, okay, we can't afford for a situation like this to happen in one country because it will set a precedent for other countries. And Facebook would lose a lot of money if they were forced to do that, which is arguably not the worst thing in the world. So they've gone nuclear. They've just gone, okay, because you were threatening to do that to us, we are going to preemptively show you what that world looks like with no news in Australia. I have a very strong suspicion it's not going to work well for Facebook. But who knows, man? Who fucking knows? We shall see.
I mean, it'd be lovely to see the Libs actually stop that policy from trying to come into place, but it would raise another kind of worrying question: is that can Facebook actually have that much influence over a country's political policies? That's a little
Yeah.
bit of a worrying thing. But
Yeah, that's a good point.
on that same token, I don't want like any policy that fucking piece of pond scum Murdoch wants to get through, I could
Yeah.
never get behind any of them.
Yeah.
Like if Murdoch wanted to put a thing into place tomorrow to, I don't know, hire 100 million more nurses that we need and properly pay them all and give them all the appropriate PPE, I would be reading through all of it for the subcontext of what it is that he's actually trying to get through, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. Basically, he's a liar and a fucking scumbag, and anything he says that seems to not be 100% to his personal benefit is probably a lie, and underneath it is something that's 100% to his personal benefit.
Exactly. Yeah.
But again, like I said, I think what Facebook has done, they've freaked out and said, if this happens in one country, it'll happen in other countries, and we will lose billions. And so we can't allow that. So they've gone nuclear. And I strongly suspect it's not going to work for them.
Has anybody said anything about this in the YouTube chat or anything like that? See if there's anything else that we should address from other people.
We've been talking about it all night, yeah. But actually, Alexander, you asked what thoughts on Google retaining ad revenue through AMP as default. I have no idea what that question means. I literally have no idea what that means.
Thoughts on Google retaining ad revenue through AMP as default? Sorry, through what's AMP? I don't understand that. Yeah, sorry, Alexander. We need a bit more clarification there, mate.
Not at all.
Yeah, Google pay for our hyperlinks.
Oh yeah, Saf was highlighting back when Murdoch fronted an inquiry how his media empire was hacking people's phones and stuff, and he goes, "This is the most humbling day of my life." Bullshit, you sniveling fucking piece of shit. You didn't care at all, and you walked out, and fuck you.
Raiders just said, if that nurses thing from Rupert Murdoch that I was just talking about went through, all of the hospitals must play Sky News 24/7.
Todd Need Games on Twitch. If you were decided with Google or Murdoch, choose Google. Absolutely, without a moment's hesitation.
Yeah.
Okay, Alexander, you said AMP is accelerated mobile pages. I still have no understanding whatsoever of what your question means.
Retaining ad revenue through accelerated mobile pages as default. I would need to. No offense, Alexander, but that's something that Angry and I would actually need to do a bit of research on, and he's got to go to bed soon. So,
exactly.
Yeah, basically in their newsfeed, most of the stories are accelerated mobile pages. When people click on them and read the articles, Google delivers the pages, so keeps the ad revenue.
Okay, I'd really have to look into how that works, basically.
Yeah, there'd need to be more research into it before I could say one way or the other, mate.
I'd need to understand more how that works. I know Google obviously gets ad revenue from the search pages, and that's their big breakthrough. No one ever thought there was money in search, and Google proved it was worth billions and billions. But yeah, that's something I'd have to look into. But as Grasshopper points out, I'm going to bed.
No worries at all. Thank you for letting me come in and ask that. I just wanted to try and get some clarification from you on that one.
Yeah, sure.
So no, I do very much appreciate that. My love to you and my love to everybody in YouTube and Twitch and everywhere else. Live long and prosper.
You all take care, y'all. And tomorrow night, all things being equal, have a bit of a party night and see what happens then.
I would love to, but I will definitely be elbows deep in doing my new build. So
okay. So anyone else, maybe tomorrow night, we'll see what happens. But I'm going to bed now. Stay well, everyone.